Southampton, are you ready to see Lowkey? I can't hear you. Southampton, are you ready to see Lowkey? I need everybody to come to as close to the front as possible. Come through, don't be shy. The man who cannot be compromised. You know from Soundtrack to the Struggle 1. You know from Soundtrack to the Struggle 2. And you know from Soundtrack to the Struggle 3. Southampton, the man, the truth, the legend. Lowkey, 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 Lowkey. Louder!
Tell you something said, too many suffering, too many tears. To see how you die, I know him for years. When we look around, nobody care, and the people ever live in a fear. The system needs to change right now. Too much youth are good on me that hate right now. You know see the bigger experience right now. After get the people I must be right now. The system needs to change right now. Too much youth are good on me that hate right now.
Make some noise for those wonderful MCs that we've heard so far. Check it. My music is my natural resource. Now I want it back till I sever every single chain. I will not relax, just constant attack till my world looks like monster rap. Contact my comrades from combat. What's conscious rap? When you say the truth, they attack like a saber tooth. Think it clear, they make you disappear. Like you hate the food, don't need more Bowens. We don't need more reborns. We don't need your Coens. They talk about terrorism and talk about terrorists. Look up the definition and tell us what terror is. Only know the definition if the television tell us it. Public enemy number one. Treat me like Professor Griff. This album has been in the making a quarter century. Born to bless a beat and rap over recorded melody. Knew the truth since I was a small little boy. I am a product of the system I was born to destroy. And I make noise.
Can't believe I saw them cheat people. They have to protect and them.
Yo, make some noise for Hamza on the ones and twos.
Yes, welcome back to The Drop. It is the show that brings you the real talk from the city's illest minds in the game. And tonight we've got a very special guest in the house, a man who has been dropping truth bombs and lyrical masterpieces for a couple of decades. Yeah, his voice is a weapon and his words are a movement indeed. Lowkey, welcome to Southampton. Welcome to The Drop. You're on tour right now. How's it been?
It's been nice. We have gone to Scotland, we did Glasgow, we've gone to Leeds, we've gone to Newcastle, we've gone to Cambridge, we've gone to Sheffield, we've gone to Manchester, we've done London, and we are also now tonight doing Southampton. So
yeah, the shows look pretty hype. They look like you have been having a lot of fun. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to tonight for sure. Your influence goes way beyond the music. You've always been known for uncompromising political and social commentary. In a time like this, though, a lot of artists kind of shy away from that. You've always leaned into that. Where do you feel like the responsibility is for artists to kind of talk about social issues? Obviously, a lot of people, I guess, kind of concerned about their musical career and their kind of success getting cancelled and losing fans and things like that. What's your sort of stance on those kind of artists?
I think generally it depends the extent to which you are guided by empathy on a daily basis. So I think that if as a person, your general compass of existence is linked to material things, then you start making calculated decisions around, beyond sustenance, because sustenance is real and is important, and I'm not in any way trying to detract from people's situations. People support people, and there's less legroom that some have and more that others have. However, I think that if you are constantly in a position where you're thinking what powerful people will think of you, then that will ultimately lead you to really justify pretty much anything. And now with what we're seeing, this is, killing on an insane scale on a daily basis. And if you are so committed to your own vision of yourself in relation to what powerful people think of you, that you can just be basically silent in the face of this, then I think that says a lot about the person you are more than anything else. It speaks volumes. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, I think in the arts, it has almost always been reliant on some form of patronage, whether that is from something like the Arts Council, or that could even be a venue, for example. Especially post-COVID, you know, a lot of places are more reliant than ever on this kind of support. But then in terms of I think the venues generally are braver than the artists.
This is for Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine!
Long live Gaza!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Gaza!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Gaza!
Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Why we listen to tunes made by ignorant fools? Israel look to you and from delivering food. They bring in the troops and we won't even glimpse of the news. Make money off the products we are quick to consume. And this is not simply a question of differing views. Forget emotions, this is facts. What I spit is the truth. It's not about if you're a Christian or if you're a Jew. It's just people living in different conditions to you. They still die when you bomb their schools, mosques and hospitals. It's not because of rockets, please God, can you stop this all? I'm not related to the strangers on the TV, but I relate, cause those strangers could have been me. Words can never ever explain the raw tragedy. It's not a war, they're just murdering more rapidly, and we are automatically supporting pure savagery. Imagine how you feel if this was your family. Sing it with me now. Free, free
Palestine!
free, free free, free free, 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 free. If Ibrahim or Buthureya could resist without a wheelchair, 10-year challenge, tell Reggae we are still here. And tell that killing Netanyahu we should feel fear. The old live through us, guarantee the children will care. Criminal, not invincible, and you know it's Armadoon, still sitting in their stoic. May not feel us with you when you listen to our poems. You inspire humanity, your resistance is heroic. Regardless of talk, it is time we answer the call. Through your strength and spirit, you provide example for all. How to live, how to love when attacked from the clouds above. The songs you sung can't be drowned by the sound of guns. Won't just watch your tragic times through a satellite dish. The least that we can give you is an anthem like this. They panic, try to analyze and sanitize this, but we love you more than ever still. Palestine lives.
I think there's a real interesting thing going on in the music industry right now. You're obviously aware of Kneecap and the controversy surrounding that. Bob Villain recently and various gigs, and the way the media is portraying and creating the narrative around those two particular bands. It's an interesting time in the music industry. Well, hopefully we can see more artists getting involved and having something to say about that.
I mean, ultimately, you look at somebody like Bob Marley, and this is someone who, his music is immortal, loved by millions, if not billions of people around the world. And he was not someone that shied away from the political issues of the day, getting involved in them directly in Jamaica, for example. John Lennon is somebody that funded the Black Panthers, directly, materially supported the IRA, for example, at a time when it would have been very difficult to do so, was very active against the Vietnam War. We lionize those people. How many artists do we have in a position where they, let alone put their money where their mouth is, put their mouth where humanity is? It's rare. It's few and far between. And actually now, what's been very interesting is the careerist's choice is, quote unquote, speaking out. And so they'll do very minimal and minor things and make a great big song and dance about how brave they are for doing a very minimal and minor thing. And it's like, this is a liberation struggle. It's a liberation struggle. And it would be silly to think that my involvement is limited to music.
everybody clap, 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 clap. Now let me see you clap, 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 clap. Now let me hear you clap, 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 clap. Let's go. Hip hop ain't dead.
It's in Southampton.
Hip hop ain't dead. 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 Now everybody clap. Check it. Don't get it twisted, I ain't dissing the states, but nowadays they're so fused. Litters, I break the rhythms of race, the internet, killing the break, you still killing it in a million ways. But slipping today, I don't do graffiti or break dance. I ain't Nas, but can kill you in 8 bars.
I ain't Nas, but can kill you in 8 bars. I ain't Nas, but can kill you in 8.
Listen, I'm on a mission to knock any competition off the top position. Cause rappers are lying to these kids like politicians. So saying the hip hop is a contradiction. Listen, make these kids imitate, we are spitting. Times are changing, this is a new day. And indeed, dude, we see, dude, what you saying though. Listen, when you're spitting, your lyrics are too fake. Hip hop ain't dead, it just lives in a new place. Hip hop ain't dead.
It's in Southampton.
Hip hop ain't dead. 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 Now everybody clap.
So you're obviously very vocal online. You are a journalist yourself. I've seen you go toe-to-toe with people like Piers Morgan and other media and news outlets. But I just want to ask you, like, what is that experience like for you? It seems you're presented in a confrontational way, and I don't think that is the case, certainly with all of your content that you've put out. But I want to know, like, do you watch it back, and do things get edited? Does anything you say on those shows get twisted or misconstrued?
Well, the thing is media is often an extension of very powerful individuals and structures within the society. So, in the case of Piers Morgan, this both times was a Rupert Murdoch platform. So my entire life, Rupert Murdoch's newspapers and channels have only ever sought to actually to just criminalize me, if I'm honest with you. They haven't sought to actually understand my point of view. They haven't sought to increase the dimensions with which people understand the world. It's literally seen me as a class enemy and sought to basically degrade people's ability to trust in me and doubt my intentions, cast doubt about my intentions. And so the Piers Morgan thing was the same. He's one of the more vociferous actors and more successful at sort of beating people down with his words. And, you know, it didn't succeed with me because also the difference is that these people are servants of power. So they're used to being in a powerful position ultimately. They're not really used to having proper critical analysis, not only of what they say, but actually of what they're part of. And so when you come into the situation so used to being on the side which is disadvantaged in debate, then I think you generally find things a little bit easier actually, because then, you know, he was a pushover really, because also the weight of reality is against what he's saying, and the evidence is vastly in the favor of the person on my side of the debate. So yeah, it was an interesting experience, and it was good to be able to get my point of view out to a large number of people, and that was definitely helpful overall. You kind of have to kind of dust yourself off when you come out of those situations, because you've come into contact with something which is a bit filthy really overall. You know, it's a very salacious Jerry Springer type of platform. It kind of caricaturizes what is really real human situation.
They're calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is. When they put it on me, I tell them this: I'm all about peace and love.
Peace and love.
They're calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is.
When they put it on me, I tell them this: I'm all about peace and love. Seems like the ragheads and packies are worrying your dad, but your dad's favourite food is. It's funny but it's sad how they make your mummy hurry with her bags rather read the sun and study all the facts. Tell me, what's a bigger threat to human society? BAE systems or homemade IEDs, remote control drones killing off human lives or I know you were terrified when you saw the towers fall. It's all terror, but some forms are more powerful. Seems nuts, how could there be such agony when more people die from? It's like the definition didn't ever exist. Guess it's all just dependent who your nemesis is. Irrelevant how eloquent the rhetoric peddler is. They're telling fibs now. Tell us who the terrorist is.
They calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is. When they put it on me, I tell them this: I'm all about peace and love.
Peace and love.
But they calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is.
When they put it on me, I tell them this: I'm all about peace and love. Lamumba was democracy, Mossadegh was democracy, Allende was democracy, hypocrisy, it bothers me. Call you terrorists if you don't wanna be a colony. Refuse to bow down to a policy of robbery is terrorism. My lyrics when more Vietnam vets killed themselves after the war and died in it. This is very basic. One nation in the world has over 1,000 military bases. They say it's religion, but clearly it isn't. Not just Muslims that oppose your imperialism. Was Hugo Chavez a Muslim?
Nah.
I didn't think so. Was Castro a Muslim?
Nah.
I didn't think so. It's like the definition didn't ever exist. Guess it's all just dependent who your nemesis is. Irrelevant how eloquent the rhetoric peddler is. They're telling fibs now. Tell us who the terrorist is.
Calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is. When they put it on me, I tell them this: I'm all about peace and love. But they calling me a terrorist, like they don't know who the terror is.
When they put it on me, I tell them this: I'm all about peace and love.
Let's get back to the music for a little bit. What's it like kind of having a nice breather between albums and then the writing process? Does the change around the world kind of affect a lot of the content and lyrics that you're writing? Are you writing a lot of material? Have you got another album in the works as well?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get another album to push out. And the situation in the world definitely affects the content that's being made. I think for me, there was only really the break from music, as in performing, between 2012 and 2016. Between these albums, and while they are quite long breaks, I'm generally touring, trying to perform in as many places as I can and meet people. But really, I would say post 2020, the majority of my time is spent on research and journalism, which is also my day job. So that has provided a bit of security in terms of being able to do the music and have it being less make or break, really. Because I think pre-2020, the years from 2016 to 2020, I was able to tour pretty much every year. And that was really the lion's share of my income. But then obviously in 2020 with the situation, there was no way you could do live shows. So things started moving towards journalism, and I was fortunate enough to be employed on that basis. And so that has allowed me to, in a way, do both the music and the journalism, but have them feed into each other as well. Like, the interesting thing on this tour is there's been people that have come to the shows that say, I haven't actually heard your music before. I knew about you through the journalism, and I wanted to come and check out your music, and I really enjoy the music. So it's an interesting phase we're at, really, in a way, because I think it's a lot harder now in some ways for independent musicians to live off of music solely. You know, I think you had a period between 2012 and 2020 when it was a bit more possible, but still not super easy. But now it's basically impossible.
You might take my life,
but you can't take my soul. You can't take my soul.
you might take my freedom,
You can't take my soul. You can't take my soul.
you might take my life,
You can't take my soul. You can't take
You might take my freedom. You might take my life. You might take my freedom. Okay, drop that, let's go. One finger up in the sky, one finger up in the sky, people. Now everybody bounce, 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 bounce. Now let me see you bounce, 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 bounce. 1, 2, 3. You might take my life.
You can't take my soul. You can't take my soul.
You might take my freedom.
You can't take my soul. You can't take my soul.
You might take my life.
You can't take my soul. You can't take my soul.
You might take my freedom.
You can't take my soul. You can't take my soul.
They can't use my music to advertise for Coca-Cola. They can't use my music to advertise for Motorola. They can't use my music to advertise for anything but truth. I guess that's the reason the industry won't let me in. Refuse to be a product or a brand, I'm a human. Refuse to contribute to the gangster illusion. Whether I'm number 1, number 2 or number 3, I'm unique and there will never be another me. There will never be another you. Be proud of who you are, don't copy what the others do. They are not superior.
Not inferior.
When we realise that
It's gonna be hysteria.
not commercial, so it's controversial what my pen has written. When they listen, many have risen from the mental prison. That's why you don't see my face upon the television. But every time I try to sleep, I hear the devil singing. Now Southampton, on the count of 3, I want you to raise the roof. 1, 2, 3. You might take my life.
You can't take my soul. You can't take my soul.
You might take my freedom.
You can't take my soul. You can't take my soul.
You might take my life.
You can't take my soul. You can't take my soul.
You might take my freedom.
You can't take my soul.
Where do you think there is a role now for conscious hip hop with the rise of social media and obviously that being almost like a primary platform for a lot of people's content and information?
So the head of global music at YouTube is Leo Cohen, okay? Now, prior to having that job, he had worked at Universal and at Warner Music. Now, he described the establishment of Napster and LimeWire as a Greek tragedy. He saw it as theft on an industrial scale of his personal property. YouTube was then, in his mind, an extension of Napster and LimeWire, whereby people were consuming the property of major labels. So what does he do? He comes into that picture, takes over global music at YouTube, and there is an algorithmic change that takes place. It goes away from promoting independent content to promoting, this is the music side of it, to promoting major label content. And so around the time that he came in, around 2016, you start to see a change, but it really turbocharges during 2020. So then it becomes harder for independent artists via YouTube to do what they're doing. But I think there's still space within the social media realm for independent artists. And people are very hungry, actually, for music and information even, which is critical of mainstream narratives. I think they're more hungry than ever, really, because it's so rare. And because, you know, the careerists are so ubiquitous. It's few and far between the people that are, and you're constantly using elites of the industry to determine the barometer of what is and what isn't sayable. I mean, how pathetic is that? You're going to sit there and think about what probably maximum like 10 to 20 very rich people think is permissible for you to say, and try and censor yourself along the lines of what pleases them. But you know, that, I mean, that's how you get an Oscar. That's how you get a Grammy. That's how it's how you excel in, whether it's Hollywood or, you know, the music industry too. But I think the music industry is more temporary, really, generally. But that's not really the way that you reach people's hearts anyway, is it? Is that
Absolutely. No, and you know, if artists want to chase that, then I guess so be it.
Yeah, but you know, as I say, it speaks volumes about their own. In a way, it's quite a cynical way to form your decisions. It's a self-conscious and cynical way for you to decide what to do and what not to do.
And the motivation is to make music in the first place, I guess.
Yeah, and to express what's in your soul. And that's the stuff that stands the test of time. And really, because there would have been equivalents who were contemporary to Bob Marley and John Lennon, who were more the self-censorship type. But retrospectively, who do people respect more? They respect, and I'm not in any way going to reach 1% of the amount of people that John Lennon and Bob Marley did. That's just the reality of the situation. However, according to the logic which guides the more careerist artists, I literally shouldn't exist. Like, I should not exist. There should be no way. This tour exists completely independent to the music industry. I've never been signed to a major label, but yet I've been, fortunate enough to reach millions of people with my music, and it's via the internet and via social media primarily. So, the social media platforms are a double-edged sword to some extent. But also, you've got to be quite lucky as well to have reached that many people, because that's not common, and it's actually becoming harder and harder, I think, for people to do that, especially with the sort of algorithmic engineering along ideological lines, which means that for stuff to get through and reach people in that way is rare.
I want to hear you loud and clear, people, yeah?
Keep your hand on your gun. Don't you trust anyone.
What's that?
Keep your hand on
Your gun.
Louder, louder, louder.
Don't you trust anyone.
First in my scope is L-bit systems. Killing people from a distance. Power is a drug and they feed the addiction. Immediate deletion of people's existence. Who says what isn't legitimate resistance to push these buttons? You don't need a brave heart. State of the art dance, do more than your base card. You might impress an A&R with your fake bars, cause you probably think Rolls Royce only make cars. This is for the colonizers, turn on providers. Take this people the way back to Oppenheimer. Call it warfare, but your wars aren't fair if they were to be. Scam for the funds, they will mangle your son. If you try to speak out, they will stamp on your tongue. To your land, they will come to you. Stand up as one has begun.
Keep your hand on your gun.
What's that?
Don't you trust anyone.
I can't hear you.
Keep your hand.
Your gun.
Hold together now.
Don't
You trust anyone.
one.
Let's go. Next in my scope is Lockheed Martin. They will tell you when the bombs need blasting. Don't think, just listen to the songs, keep dancing. Do they really want us to have our own brains? Who do you think is really running Guantanamo Bay? And it might be sensitive, but I'll mention it. Who do you think's got us filling out the censuses? Who do you think is handing out the sentences? This ain't the BBC, so there's no. Heard of many mercenaries getting with a clever pimp, not a gun seller.
Guns better than every print.
Make money off many things. This one is dedicated to the Radiant 9 on the scam for the funds. They will mangle your son. If you try to speak out, they will stamp on your tongue. To your land, they will come to you. Stand up as one has begun.
Keep your hand on your gun.
What's that?
Don't you trust anyone.
I can't hear you.
Keep your hand on your
Gun.
What's that?
Don't you trust anyone.
What does it feel like having people in the crowd rapping your lyrics back to you?
It's interesting, because I feel interested in that person and sort of how and why those words have connected with them, and how and why they've decided to feel those words represent them in some way. Because that's actually, that's quite a significant thing for something to connect with someone on that level. So yeah, I feel fortunate, man. I feel very, very fortunate.
That's good. At least people are listening and paying attention. We mentioned Bob Marley and John Lennon, but I reckon people have kind of they're listening, but they're not really listening anymore, especially to those artists, if you know what I mean. So,
well, I mean, in my case, why I also feel very lucky is these songs were released 15 years ago, and more people have actually listened to them across the last 5 years than they listened to them the 10 years previous to that. So there's something interesting going on there. You know, again, it will never be mainstream, but it has touched people. It's like Akala has a lyric. He said, "Keep the charts, all we want is your hearts." And undoubtedly, there was a movement of artists around that time, whether myself or Akala or others, that were able to really against the odds. We never had any support from the mainstream of the music industry, never had any support from the record labels, but yet still were able to cut through that situation and reach people. And actually, I think it builds an intimacy ultimately, because people connect with what you're saying in a more personal way, because they also know it's not cynical. They know you're not just trying to, you know, appeal to a silly part of them. You're appealing to it. You're respecting the listener enough to say that I'm showing some level of vulnerability with you, and I'm talking to you about my emotions, and they're connecting it to their emotions. So yeah, I mean, I feel massively lucky, man. At that time when this album was made, the first album, which is Soundtrack to the Struggle 1, which is the one that I think reached the most people, I would never have dreamed that 15 years down the line, I'd be able to tour it with 19 shows across England, Scotland, Ireland, and, you know, people would know the lyrics the way they do. So, you know, I just wonder if there's another 15 years in which people will still listen to it or still feel it has meaning to them.
People died in the back of trucks. They died in the Mediterranean and they died in the English Channel. Let's do it, check it. One finger up in the sky. Did Ahmed not deserve a life? Ahmed never hurt a fly. Ahmed never knew the politicians he was murdered by. Certain times Ahmed wished that he could be a bird and fly beyond the sky. Escape the curse of birth he was burdened by. Ahmed never grew to let your racism internalize. War pulled from every pore in his corpse, so the nurses cried. Ahmed was a beautiful person, like you or I. But are we? Ahmed could have been a doctor, lawyer or an engineer, could have been a superstar, but his life ended here. Guess he was a shooting star, burned bright and disappeared. Some he seems to represent a menace in this hemisphere. Let me hear, make the very essence of this message clear. He was precious, many die like him every year. Ahmed was a victim of resentment and relentless fear. Now his soul surfs the waves, I wish we could have kept him here. When I say one, you say love. One. When I say one, you say peace. One. When I say one, you say love. One. Ahmed's ancestors introduced to Europe Greek philosophy, but with them irrigation, mathematics and astronomy. Symbolically, irony of this horror isn't lost on me. Trying to get to Europe via Greece is where he's lost at sea. Ahmed, not Ahmed, this Ahmed, he's that dead. Toddler lying lifeless on the beach with his back bent, arms spread, reaching the direction that his dad went. If he made it here, might have been bullied for his accent. He was captured by the ocean, paralyzed and frozen while these parasites sat and tight, analyzing clothing out for resources. We all compete beyond the talk of war and peace. Talk of porous borders, there is corpses on the shores of Greece. They found a teddy next to where his body was found. Seas swallowed him, politics has swallowed him now. And those responsible, Ahmed's goals will follow them now. To the family, all we can say is we are sorry he drowned. Because when I say one, you say love. One. When I say one, you say peace. One. When I say one, you say love. One. Cause Ahmed could have been you and Ahmed could have been me. We need to understand the policies that put him in the sea. We need to understand why it is the beach is full of dying kids. A colonial metropole, people want to reside in it. If he did, would he make it or fall to something that's deeper? End up like Jimmy and Benga or Khalid Abu Dharifa. I picture back Javier Paulus on the beaches of Tarifa. Made me see some might grieve more if Ahmed was a creature with 4 legs. Then they might consider him legitimate. Those like him braving barbed wire, burning off their fingertips. Balfour's Alien Act. That mentality still exists. Is privilege the difference between an expat and an immigrant? For Amma Somani and Uthman Rasul Muhammad, when you take others' humanity, it's only yours that stunted, not a swarm. There are sisters and brothers. That's the sum of it. The cockroaches here are in the media and the government, not the sea. Thank you very much.
Your music's timeless. We absolutely appreciate everything you do. Coming to a town like this means a lot to us, and I know it means a lot to some of the MCs that are performing tonight. They've kind of asked me to ask you kind of like just a bit of advice, really. Like Southampton as a city struggles with performers trying to break out and have some success.
So in my case, again, London is an entirely different dynamic. You're a lot closer to, wealth, industry, business in a way that out of London, and at that time particularly as well, I think London was more like that. But, I remember going to open mics, and so rather than just seeing it as an open mic, I turned it into an opportunity to sell CDs. And so did the open mic and enjoyed the open mic. I thought, okay, I'm going to make sure that everyone here is going to have one of my CDs by the end of the time of the open mic. And the open mic deal rule was like I was going there from like 2003, 2004 to about 2005, 2006 when it got shut down. And so in that time, I recorded in my friend's bedroom a CD, pressed up the CDs, made about 150 of them, selling them for £5, sold all of those CDs over time, because I'd go to the open mic, rap on the open mic, and then sell the CDs. There was a magazine at the time. I sent the CD to the magazine, asked them to review it. They did review it. Then there was a hip-hop radio show at the time. I would call in and rap down the phone to them. Won a competition. It's called 60 Second Assassin. So you'd rap for 60 seconds on it. It was on Choice FM, DJ 279 show. Rap down there. I won it 3 weeks in a row. If you won it 4 weeks in a row, then you'd get invited on to be part of something called Knights of the Round Table. And so then later on, I lost on the 4th week, but then I was able to get onto the Knights of the Round Table later on. So that started building things a little bit. Was able to get onto support slots for other artists. I think I got, or I appeared as part of a support slot for Black Twang, and that was a big deal at that time. Skinny Man, I was able to do a support slot for him. And then when the American rappers would come, you built some sort of relationship. The thing is, what was different about that time to now is things were a lot more face-to-face, because the internet was not what it became. In terms of now, if I was to look at things from starting now, I would make lyrics about current issues and upload them on TikTok. That's what I'd do. So things that people are already talking about, I would make a rap about it and upload it on TikTok. And that's the way I'd be trying to reach people. Because, and I think that would allow your voice to travel outside of your location, because it's a story which is relevant to everyone that's talking about the story already. And then they fit your lyrics into their understanding of this bigger story. And I think if you were to keep doing that, so if you were to have a TikTok account now, because TikTok is the thing, I'm not on it at all, but I'm understanding how important it is to people. If you were able to upload a video once a week of you rapping about a particular hot topic on TikTok, and you did that for 3 years straight, in with whatever's already going on in your life and your work, then I think at the end of those 3 years, you'll be in a position where you'll be able to release music and people will actually consume it in a way that allows you to make a living. You know, you go through TuneCore or something like that, get your stuff uploaded on Spotify or onto any of the other main streaming platforms, and then you use the TikTok presence as a way to feed that. That's what I would do if I was where I was in 2003 now, and if I was trying to reach people. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard, and it's funny because with music, lyric changes constantly, but also the music can be a route to other things too. Because if you're able to build up the music platform in a way, at the very beginning, it was like social media was in addition to whatever you had going on. But now it's like social media is actually everything. Even before with like gigs and stuff, things were a lot more based on how many flyers you got out, where did you go to get the flyers out, where did you put flyers. Whereas now, social media is probably the majority of the promotion budget for shows as well. So, yeah, I think it's about attempting to marry what's happening in the physical, material sphere with what's happening on the internet. And putting yourself, it's one of the things that Piers Morgan excels at, is he puts himself at the center of any conversation. So it could be a conversation about P. Diddy. In his case, Piers Morgan will want to interview someone in an important position with the P. Diddy case, and therefore Piers Morgan becomes a part of the story. So in a way, you kind of have to do that, I would say, now to get forward.
Makes him the most important person in the room.
Well, to him, he may feel he is, but I think in terms of relevance, so it's like it's changed. Whereas before, you could kind of make music about what you wanted to make music about, and people would kind of come to you. But I think now you have to have a sort of sensor for what are the conversations that people are already having, and how you can kind of put yourself in that conversation.
All together now, 1, 2, 3.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be
free. From the river to the sea, free, 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 free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river
Check it.
to the sea, free, free, free.
How can I start? Can't get the image out of my heart when we've seen the bodies found in a mountain of parts. Netanyahu told you just another child of the dark. Clear it's gonna take much more than thousands to march, more than a speech, more than a poem, more than a track of music. Gonna take more than a sit down with Bassem Youssef. Even bringing back ambassadors is an act that's useless, long as you pump oil for Apaches and the tanks they're using. Freedom just beyond reach for people you cannot see. He's wheezing and cannot breathe, squeezing through the concrete, looking for his 4 children. And the bombs leave structures that I wouldn't want to call buildings. My fingers pointed at this government. You all killed them. Tell me that you wouldn't take up arms if those were your children. Let me make the factor clear. Spawns were manufactured here, and they want the land as theirs because of natural gas in there. Feel death in the atmosphere while we happily stand and stare. And a little boy begs for his brother's strand of hair. Truth is, I don't know how anyone can live after for their dead kids buried under bricks. Israel is a terror state, terrorists that terrorize. I testify my television, televised and telling lies. This is not a war, it is systematic genocide. But wherever they try, Palestine will never die. They're not prepared to face the pain, so they're scared to say your name. They're not prepared to face the pain, so they're scared to say your name. They're not prepared to face the pain, so they're scared to say your name. All together now, 1, 2, 3.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, free, 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 free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, free, 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 free.
They bomb churches and paramedics, it's hurting the panic spreading. Hospitals where the doctors do C-sections, no anesthetics. Humanity stands connected, but masses seem apathetic and actually just accept it. When our grandchildren ask us, what did we do to stop it? I'm determined to say I did more than make music on it. That's why we shut down arms factories. You can try stopping us. The opposite of white phosphorus, we tell them on the television, but they never listen. Tell Piers Morgan that resistance isn't terrorism. They want them fled or missing, death or prison, endless killing. I seen a father hold his baby up, their head was missing. Imagine demolition, a home where your parents living. Kings won't say a thing, but at least we know the women's with them. Ethnic cleansing, it ain't hard to see the stages, but Gaza, Al-Azza, graveyard of the invaders. It's clear though when there's clarity. The journalists and doctors are heroes of humanity. As morbid and as sordid as this story is for now, and they depopulating Gaza for Ben-Gurion's canal. Israel is a terror state, terrorists that terrorize. I testify my television, televise, I'm telling lies. This is not a war, it is systematic. But whatever they try,
وأشد على أياديكم وأبوس الأرض تحت نعالكم وأقول أناديكم وأشد على أياديكم وأبوس الأرض.
Let's hear you now, all together now, 1, 2, 3. When I say Netanyahu, you say jail him. Netanyahu, Netanyahu. When I say stop the, you say genocide. Stop the, stop the. When I say Netanyahu, you say jail him. Netanyahu, Netanyahu. When I say stop the, you say genocide. Stop the, stop the. Thank you so much. Thank you, Southampton. Much.
Southampton, one more time for Lowkey.
You ready for the strap?